Bitcoin is crashing actually into a very bullish pattern here with this incredible falling wedge. What are the levels to the downside we need to look for the bounce, or is the bounce already in progress? Because we're seeing the same thing on Ethereum. What do we see? We see that descending falling wedge coming right down precariously right to where these lows are back over here. But more than that, what I'm most excited about is when we see right here, the others chart on the macro is looking like it's coming back towards absolute boom season to the upside. And why would it be upside? Because look at what we're seeing on the liquidation heat maps. All of the liquidity is above us now. We've come down, and this is looking at the, I think it, let's see, the 1 week chart. Yeah, we can see this right here. Came down, cleared all the liquidity below us. Does it mean we can't drop a little further? In fact, I think we might, but I think we're in supreme bear trap territory. We can see this also with the fear and greed still sitting very neutral. And some people think that the top is near, and I would beg to differ and think that we're going to see some absolute booms here. So what are the signals? Everybody get involved. I want to see you in the live chat. I want to see you active. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. We're going to be getting going here in just a moment. Let's go. Oh yeah, if you hit that like button, we're about to get going. How you doing, everybody? I took yesterday off. I apologize. I was just not, I was not feeling well at all, but I'm feeling like $1,000,000 today. I'm feeling large and in charge. Hope you're all feeling good. We got One House Productions here. Juan Robledo, how you doing? Andy D, Jesse Michaud, how you doing? If you are active right now, if you're alive, if you're awake, if you hear what I am saying, I want you to get active in the live chat right now, or comment down below if you don't know how to get into the live chat. But we're on live on Rumble, we're live on YouTube, and we're live on X. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the family. If this is your first time, I can guarantee you it's not going to be your last time. Welcome to the BitLab Academy. My name's Kellam. Shout out to our channel partners, BitcoinIRA.com, and of course, Arculus. Get Arculus.com. Use code BitLab20 for the best crypto cold storage solution there is. But we still got to talk about the upside, because in these moments where the market is feeling so scary to the downside, that's when you need to be preparing for these upside targets. And the way you prepare for upside targets to be able to participate so you can take profits up here is either holding through these choppy times or finding areas to basically DCA in, add to your position, buy lower if you bought higher before this. I still think there's plenty of upside in this market. We're going to talk about why here in just a moment. As everybody is rolling in, I see you, Ben Makash. How you doing? Old school friend there. But we got to talk about this because people get so worried when we're seeing on the price action. Let's come back over to Bitcoin. People get so worried when price comes to the downside. But let's go ahead and talk about this, because when we zoom out, first off, we talked about this coming down and filling and doing this sort of move, and it absolutely has. Now, when it came up to here, we are getting this, another washout to the downside. But when the entire world has woken up to this asset class in ways that we could not have even comprehended even 18 months ago, these sorts of gifts, yes, this is a gift with price action to the downside. We need to be taking advantage of this, whether you're holding Bitcoin, whether you're holding Ethereum with this downside. Oh my God, it's over. Whether you're holding Link, which golly, this had such a nice move over the weekend, and yet it's holding up into a beautiful bull flag here. We see Ondo also, oh my God, it broke down. We also saw that telegraphed with this chart pattern right here that this would likely break down, and this is what it's done. And ultimately, it's bounced right on a level we already had on the chart. We see BNB beautifully coming into a symmetrical triangle. We see Aerodrome oh my God, it's crashing. But is it? I mean, it's broken down into a bullish pattern. We see Cardano, beautiful. So kind of a bull flag, but let's just call this kind of a falling wedge as well. But either way, it's sitting above, holding above. The bulls are defending above these areas back over here where all of these tops were. This is where the bulls are coming in. Now, ultimately, if this came back down into this zone, I would think this would be an ultimate gift back down into the 83 cent, 84 cent zone. But as it stands right now, still very bullish posturing. Solana, also, look at this. We had this neckline here with this inverted head and shoulders. It broke out. We got the bulls really activated, bull trap back down. Now, what have we talked about over the last 2-3 years on this channel? More often than not, we see the price action go in and basically trap people to the upside, trap people to the downside, and then equilibrium, and then make the move. So we need to see what happens in this zone. If this comes a little bit further down here to about 173, that would be fine, especially considering what this trend line is. What is this trend line? Well, let's zoom out and realize that that trend line that we just circled right there is a trend line. I don't know why this moved over here like that, but this ultimately is a trend line that goes all the way back. You see this all the way back to 2021. So when we're looking at this on the 4-hour, we go, oh my God, it might crash back down into this territory, which is kind of where it's finding support. That is a 4 or 5 year trend line. And it makes sense if we're having to do some work. Look, bull trap up, rejected, bear trap down, supreme bull trap back up, comes back down, bounces now, really washes people out to the downside, washes people back out to the upside. There's a lot at stake here, especially in the fact that we're going into this period that's basically right about near where the end of the 4-year cycle should be. And yet, there's a lot of evidence that shows that this is more likely than not going to continue pressing up into next year. Does that mean we can't have a washout at some point this year? No, in fact, I think we will. We're basically changing of the narrative. And that's because of the overwhelming changing of the landscape in the crypto ecosystem globally with banks and corporations and corporate treasuries and executive orders. And I mean, guys, the world is opening up to this. I cannot imagine that we go into a 1.5-year bear market that starts sometime in, October, November. Now, we very much overwhelmingly likely will, in my opinion, push up sometime between now and then, get everybody very excited, and then have a sell-off and all the 4-year cycle theory people that are just saying, see, it happened again. And then the market rebounds, whether it's in December or sometime in January or February, and then the market just keeps pushing up, leaving everybody behind that was expecting somewhere in a 50, 60, 70% drawdown over the next 1.5 years. We are in changing times right now, so we need to make sure we're stacking in to this evolution, this revolution in global finance. So let's talk about some of these signals because things are still looking quite good. As everybody rolls in here, how you doing? We got Ninja Glock, Ugin Sky, that guy, Pre-Rich, Ben Makash. What up? What about Say holding strong? Let's look at Say for sure. Jesse Michaud, Ryan Boylan, Ben Adams. Will we get a little bouncy bounce today? Well, let's look at it. We see, wait, did we just hit 111? No way. Let me look at this. No. Yeah, I guess we came down into the 113. That's CME futures. So let's look here. Yeah, came down to about 113.5, but still very much in this falling wedge. The precarious thing about this, though, is if you zoom out on this, this looks a lot like a double top here with this top here and this top here. But we talked about this a couple weeks ago with the very large brewing. All the way from back here. This is, look at this, May of 2025. This was the price at 112,000. And then we had this top here at, where was this? Up here at 123,000. That was the all-time high that we broke into. And then we broke to a new all-time high right here. And if you look at this, there's a bit of a bearish divergence that comes from there. And then yet again, we get even a little steeper right there. And so the price is selling off. We talked about this before it actually played out. For those of you that are tuned in, we talked about the weakening circumstances as prices pushed higher and the money flow kept trickling lower. Look at this massive bearish divergence on the money flow. Look at this bearish divergence that started back in May 22nd, 2025, and then ultimately to July 14th, and then got even steeper here, meaning these peaks being not as high, meaning the strength, it's a little bit weaker. It's a little bit weaker in terms of how much strength, how much fuel is in the engine. And yet the price was pushing higher and higher and higher. This tells us that a little bit of a reset's coming. And then what are we getting? We're getting a little bit of a reset. So for those of you that have been paying attention, congratulations to you for making sure that you're looking at the data and not getting lost in the price narrative, because this is something, even back over here, I was talking about the washout coming back into the 115s, potentially back into 113 to 112. And this is exactly what we're seeing. We see this on the liquidation heat map. Look at all the liquidities above us now. Let's go to a little bit more granular, and we're going to look at a little bit smaller time frame. Let's go to the 24-hour and see what we're seeing. A little bit of liquidity on both sides, but dominated with liquidity above us. Now, why is this important? Because this tells the story of how most people get wrecked in markets. If all this liquidity is above us on the liquidation heat maps, this is in regards to people shorting the market. So this means there's more people shorting here than longing, based on looking at this graphic with where this liquidation levels are. Yes, there's some nodes down below us, but overwhelmingly it is above us, meaning it's dominated by people agreeing, betting on market go down further. The market tends to humble the most people. And so right now, the most people, which also happen to provide a lot of essentially free liquidity in the charts, this market, I do think, is going to have a bit of a rebound up into the zone. The question's going to be, do you rebound up into this, scoop up this liquidity, and then continue lower? Or do you rebound through this, get a short squeeze, and rise above this, and on any sort of retrace, do the bulls defend? That's what we have to pay attention to right here. Now, let's go ahead and look at a couple of the stories here, and then we're going to get into some TA. Welcome back, everybody. I was in bed, but I already had a few from earlier. Shout out Rick Ross. We got Andy D here. Sparrowhawk, how you doing? Zima. Man, I haven't heard the Zima drinks in a long time. But we got, we got a good crew of people in the room right now. 1,400 people tuned in. Let's go through some of the data that I'm seeing, and we'll talk about what it means. This is what people keep dealing with. We're right here in the middle of the most productive part of bull markets. What do you mean, Kelly? Aren't we near top? The market's crashing. When you think like that, you wreck yourself, because you hedge yourself into far too much safety, aka fear-induced selling, only to have the market resolve to the upside. And you get in this sort of scenario right here where this is what you feel. So people felt like, damn, I wish I bought. It was at 123, 123.5. The market corrects. Okay, the top was in. I better get out before it crashes further, only to have the rebound to the upside. Do not lend your money or give it away to people that already have 3 vacation homes and 2 boats and all the Bitcoin in the world. You need to be stacking in these opportunities when the market presents itself, which is exactly what we are seeing right now. And there's nothing out of shape on a bullish narrative with what we're seeing in the immediate near term. Could we have a little bit more of a washout? Well, sure, because remember, if you go over to BTC1, we're just now really barely substantiating, clearing these CME gaps that we're seeing here. Now, of course, this happened back here on August 1st, but there was just a lot of liquidity interest in the zone. It wouldn't surprise me if this came down a bit further into these zones, retesting this previous range high. This didn't fully, we can see this right here, option H. This didn't fully come down and retest this. If this were to do that, it would only be part of normal bull market behavior. Now, beyond that, we still have another CME gap that we have yet to fill, and that is the gap right here. It's a very small gap as we look at it like this, about $92,000. Now, do I think we're going to get a move all the way down to 92? I don't know. I know overwhelmingly over the next 7 years, the market's going to be up and to the right. We get so lost in the near term that we feel like if this were to come down and fill this, it's the end of the world. And we bought all the way up to here, and then we sell down here, losing percentage points, losing prospective profits in the future, only to have this rebound and go to the upside. The market tends to humble the most people. And now we have the largest amount of big wallet money players coming involved with corporate treasuries, with governments, with ETFs, with the world waking up to what's going on. And people are worried on these near-term, short-term pullbacks. What are we doing, guys? Ugan Sky says 117,000 soon. What do you guys think? At the end of August, August 31st, what price point do you think, in a few $1,000 range, what price point do you think Bitcoin and Ethereum are going to be at? And follow that up. I'd love to see your thoughts in the live chat. And do you think that September will be an up month or down month? Let me know in the comments, and you can drop a comment down below if you are watching later and you're not here live. But shout out to everybody that's here. I see some people chatting from Twitter as well. Just a reminder, if you're on X, you can live chat. If you're on Rumble, you can live chat. I see all of your commentary right here on next to my charts here. But let's go through a couple of these. So this is what people are dealing with. The best opportunities to buy are the areas that people usually make the biggest errors. I'm going to say that again. The best opportunities to buy in a bull trend are the same periods, the same moments in that chart where most people make the biggest mistakes. So do not take this emotional moment as a time setup for you to ruin your future. You should be buying into this, taking profits here if that's what you're doing on a near term, or on a bounce if this looks like it's not going to reach a new high. Take profits there and exit. You don't sell in the middle of massive red candles to the downside. Now, continuing on, what do we got? Total public companies holding 1,000 Bitcoin. This is very important because this speaks to the exponential increasing buy pressure that's coming in. Look at this. Q18. Look at this. Way less than 5. This is like 1 or 2. Q18. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Oh, we get up to about 5 in 2020. Nice little move to the upside, up to about 10. That's it. 10 total public companies. Just around 10, 11, 10, 11, back to 10. Oh, I got scared. And then what do we see going into 2023? What happened right here in Q1 of 2023? The ETFs went live. Then after Q1 and Q2 into Q3, we started getting the data about the overwhelming appetite and the record-setting amount of capital that was flowing into those Bitcoin ETFs. 2 of them absolutely smashing the record of any asset that we've ever seen ever, and how fast they got to $10 billion in assets under management, meaning $10 billion worth of buy pressure that came in and therefore had to go in and buy that, respective Bitcoin. BlackRock, IBIT, and Fidelity, FBTC, both smashed the records of any asset in history at about, I think it was under 200 days or something, where the previous record was like 3,000 something days. That includes gold. That includes any of your favorite asset. Bitcoin smashed that. So those data points then woke up the industry. And what do we see? Boom. It went from about 10 to by Q1 of 2025, we doubled that up to 20. And now we're only up to about 35. Now, what do you notice here? There are tens of thousands of publicly traded companies, and we're at only about 35 public companies that hold 1,000 plus Bitcoin. Now, there's a lot more of that, more than that hold, Bitcoin, 10, 30, 100, 150, 600, 700, 800, 999, right? But this is 1,000 plus. So we have 35 companies, public companies, that hold over 1,000 Bitcoin. And this is only going to go exponential, and then it's going to plateau as the price of Bitcoin absolutely explodes as well. But guys, I mean, what we're about to see is nothing short of extraordinary. Now, there are some warning shots. On this warning shot here from Jesse Olson, there are some potential moves to the downside. This is a divergence that we talked about that came in here with the money flow and the RSI between this peak and this peak. This was the 109,000. Yeah. This was 122, 123. And then this was the subsequent, very barely, right at that previous all-time high. But then we are kind of breaking down here. There are some targets below us. Could we get all the way down here? We very much could, but if I had to bet, we're going to get a bit of a bear trap, somewhere into the 112 all the way potentially down to about this 105, 108. If it does go below 100, you're going to see a big rotation of fear in the market where short-term holders are selling and big market players are scooping up those astronomically stupid discounts because people aren't looking at the data. So I'm on the side of being the smart money, buying that fear, not selling because I'm in fear. Okay. Now we do want to pay attention to these targets and act accordingly, but sometimes this is more of a fear setup than the actual reality of what we're going to see. Now, this is where we're at on the MVRV, the market value to realized value. This means market value, what we're seeing on the charts. Realized value, meaning Bitcoin, every Bitcoin from when it was bought to when it was sold, basically how much was realized. At what price point, if I sell you a Bitcoin today, what price point did I buy it at? That was its last realized price. When I sell it to you, that's the new realized price. So you're getting the average cost, basically the average of every Bitcoin in circulation the last time it moved. So this has been an extraordinarily good metric to especially identify near market bottoms, as we see here and here. And look at this COVID crash, perfect buy setup. Look at this into right at the FTX collapse, which was the final move. But this entire area here where the market value, the price on exchange was at the realized value and below, excellent opportunities to buy. But then we can also look on the upside price action. Look at this metric at the bottom. This is a measurement of how far the price is moving from the realized value. And what we're seeing here, look at these. And when you get the very fast movement to the upside and you get the separation of price that grows, it gets much more separated from the realized value, you get these peaks on the chart. Well, if you notice right here on this secondary line, right here, each time this crosses this line, this is right about when the price goes, it's starting to move parabolic and it actually goes into it. Same again right here, rejected. Yes, the price was moving up, but rejected right here, finds a reset, and then boom, on the break of this right here, this is where we get that exponential move. Same thing right here, exponential move. We have been held hostage until everybody, the big money players, get their position set and the retail interest wakes up, which unfortunately tends to be after this is moving into that parabolic region. As this moves up, the old players start taking profits and the people that they're selling to are people buying the hype. And so we're not even in that hype territory yet. I still think that it is coming and we're going to get a big move above this on the MVRV. So that is exciting to see. And then we can see on the last two cycles as it relates to where we're at right now. This is the cycle bottoms on the 2021, that's orange, the 2017, that's yellow, measured from the bottom of the cycle to where we're at right now. Compared to the last two cycles, we still have time. Who cares about this moving up? We still have time as it relates to where the cycle stopped. And look at this, 2021 and 2017, roughly right about almost on the day, about the same spot that they topped. And that would still be, from where we're at now, another 50 to 70 days after this, which would put us on that 4-year schedule sometime into October, maybe early November. So when we're seeing this and all the previous cycles have moved up from this point, I'm still betting on that, having a sell-off that traps a lot of people and then only continuing this to the upside. Now, one of the things everybody's looking for right now is then we can dump these worthless assets, says Crypto Arrow. Yeah, I can't wait for my rotation out of the alts that I have into Bitcoin. But one of the things everybody's waiting on is, do we get rate cuts? Well, we still see this at 83%. Let's see if it changed at all. Sometimes this moves around throughout the day. Sitting here at 85%. A few days ago, it was over 90%, but about 15% of the people are thinking we may still pause. And I was talking to TJ about this earlier in that, okay, we got the jobs numbers revised lower. That sucks, but that also gives more firepower to the Fed to cut because they want to prevent joblessness, right? And if the industry is having issue and they're cutting jobs, blah, 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 that actually supports the notion to cut. But then at the same time, about a week later, last week, we got the PPI, Producers Price Index. That is a front runner to consumer price inflation. If the PPI is going up, it could mean, not always, but it could mean that you're getting a front running signal that you might start seeing a spike and that producer costs being more start getting passed on to goods in stores being higher, meaning inflation. And one of the Fed's mandates is to keep inflation low and keep jobs high. So now, as excited as we've all been, we got the job numbers lower, yes, but then now we get the PPI jumping like, I think, 0.7% higher than they expected month over month, which is a pretty big jump. It leads to some of the fear that everybody was talking about in regards to what the tariffs could mean for inflation. Is it going to drive it up, or is it going to be a non-thing? Is it going to? And so we're still waiting on that because, yes, this happened back in April, but it takes 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months sometimes for those things to carry over into the other aspects of the industry. So right now, all eyes are, do we get a Fed rate cut in September? And if so, are we also getting one in October? In this case, close to 100% between these two. This would be one rate cut. This means that there would be one rate cut in September, and we would pause maybe again in October. But then there's also a 45.5% chance that we get a second rate cut in October. So there's still a lot of things on the horizon. Then we got this. Wyoming launched the Frontier stablecoin. And not only did they launch it, it's not live yet, but that's going to be called FRNT Front. Kind of like, Frontier, that's the word I was looking for. But it's on Ethereum, it's on Solana, it's on Arbitrum, it's on Avalanche, it's on Polygon, which is not dead, formerly known as Matic, now known as Pole, Optimism, and Base. So what I really like about this is they're launching, it's the first state to launch a stablecoin, and it's going to be across 7 blockchains, which kind of covers the scope of the industry, which is pretty darn cool. And this is from Eleanor Terrett. You should definitely give her a follow. Always posts really great stuff. Very tied in on the political side of the crypto landscape. But this is very good. It speaks to, even if you're not excited about this, this speaks to the growing integration and adoption and acceptance of Bitcoin, crypto, stablecoins, Web3, digital assets into this next stage of technology and commerce that the world is transitioning into. We're in the middle of it right now. So if we got dips, that's why I'm buying or sitting on my hands, because we're seeing states launch stablecoins. We're going to be seeing JP Morgan and Bank of America and Wells Fargo. Wells Fargo just added to their position in Bitcoin through their IBIT exposure. But we're seeing a couple fear signs, and I'm going to dispel this real quick. There's going to be a huge unstaking in ETH. Oh my God, we're so scared. But at the same time, what do you see here? This is going to be about 14 days from now. We see that crypto media, Bitcoin maxis and Alt1 peddlers are coordinating to spread FUD about the ETH due to staking exit queue size. If those were withdrawn instantly today, not gradually and offset by the intra queue, as in reality, this would be the drop in staked Ethereum supply. So I mean, you cannot even see this. So let's be a little bit more cautious of the FUD, and especially when we're seeing the advent now with like Tom Lee that is put out the prospectus that they're going to be raising $20 billion to buy a huge amount more of the of Ethereum as an Ethereum reserve. But then we also have a number of other companies like SharpLink, and I mean, there's quite a list that's growing now with ETH reserves, people really stacking into ETH. Part of that is because of the new legislation we've got here in the US that is opening the doorway for stablecoins and payments and blockchain integration. So let's be excited about what's coming on here. And then we got right here, Chainlink data streams now supports US equities and ETFs like Apple, Nvidia, Circle, and QQQ, delivering real-time data with market status and update timestamps. So this is one of those things, as unsexy as you might think this is. Weren't they already doing this? No, they are actively getting integrated into the global world of traditional finance, bringing it into the Web3 standard, especially with the protocol Chainlink, with the data oracles, also the cross-chain interoperability. So not only is Chainlink leveling up the entire digital asset ecosystem, it's also bridging the old world finance, lethargic, antiquated TradFi system into Web3. And remember what Chainlink did about a week and a half ago? They launched the Chainlink Reserve. This is badass because this also shows as they build in more integrations and more use cases, these sorts of transactions and use cases and fees and everything within the Web3 ecosystem and also what they're doing in Web2 is all going to drive more transaction value that's going to lend to more Chainlink adding to the reserve. So this is very bullish beyond what we could really even comprehend. Where we're going with this industry is fantastic. And then, of course, first ever RWA tokenization ETF. Ondo Finance filed by 21 shares. So are we about to get an ETF for Ondo? Well, let's see. But, you know, I'm super bullish on what this is going to do. I had a little bit of a momentary, a little worried about Ondo because of the number of other chains that were starting to tokenize assets like Solana and Injective and Avalanche, Ethereum, of course. But Ondo's, it's so uniquely positioned with its partnerships with, the litany, the list is just ridiculous with JP Morgan and BlackRock, Wisdom Tree, MasterCard. The list is, it's almost endless with the number of major global finance players that they're integrated with. And they're already basically the leader with US treasuries tokenized, in addition to I think they want to do up to 1,000 of the top securities and other, assets like Nvidia and Apple and all these other things as well. So very bullish on that. And then we get back to the others. Andy D says Link is dead. I don't know who you said. Somebody else. Oh, that was Seaburt Visuals. Link. Yeah, you know what? Link is dead. So you can just go ahead and hand over your link to me if you think that. But this is what we're looking at right here for the others chart. Look at this red wave down here that comes back to zero. This is the predecessor of the major move. Red wave back to zero. The predecessor to the parabolic move. Major red wave almost feels delayed or extended, like we've been talking about. We've not yet gotten into that green wave territory. And when that happens, that will be similar to this area here or this area into here before that parabolic move. Meaning right now, we still have time to stack or just be patient because some absolute monster moves are coming. Now, getting back over to Bitcoin, it's about to get prego. Let's go. So until we break down from the move that we're in right now, and look, RSI, this is what I like to see. Price action move to the upside. Oh my God, it's crashing. What you want to see when price action moves down is, are you also getting a reset on the signals you would need to be reset in order to make those move higher like you want? Well, here on the 4-hour chart, look, the RSI has come all the way back down here into the sub 30. But what we're noticing right now, look at this. What we're noticing right now is pretty steep move to the downside with lows. I'm just looking at the bottoms here. That's a low. That's a low. See how this is much lower? Look at the RSI. We're starting to get maybe just a tease. We'll have to see, but we're starting to get indication. RSI, the strength is holding up better here while the price goes down. To me, this is starting to potentially signal. This is kind of a forecast for a move that could happen. The strength is holding up. The money flow is still quite low. We want to see this trickle back up towards zero, but we also want to see this RSI hold up here if this does happen, because we're getting a bullish divergence if that's the case. Now, what we're going to want to watch for here is that we don't get a sort of dead cat bounce into this, fake out, and then down. That would suck, but it also would mean it only suck because you need to be a little more patient. I mean, you're going to get a better opportunity. And remember, what were those levels I was talking about earlier? A move somewhere between 112 down to about 108. So somewhere like this. So watch here. If we do get rejected here or we get a slight move up, watch for potential larger bear trap to the downside. Now that would be the bearish move. If this bull scenario sets up and the money flow comes back in, then what I'd like to see, what I'd really prefer to see is a move out. Let's go to this chart. Is a move, option T. Let's get a trend line there. Hold on. Let's get a trend line. Boom. There we go. Just want to show the same look that we're seeing. Cool. What I'd really prefer to see is the move up, a reset, bulls come in, and a continuation. We're going to have to see which way this plays out, whether it's that or that. But with September having tended to be in these years, the year following the halving, July, August bullish, September bearish. But then we have the advent of the Fed expectations about cutting. All eyes are going to be on any of the PPI and the CPI reads and Jerome Powell speaking. All these indications are going to lead to volatility in this market until there's that sort of resolution, whether it's bullish or bearish, whether they're cutting or not. Everything just feels like it's in a pressure cooker. But when we get over to the others chart, we also see, okay, bulls are kind of holding here, but look at this, pretty big move up. We had that leading signal, the money flow down. Okay, the money flow down, the RSI down. So we had a bearish divergence into this, and now we did get the bounce, set up a giant head and shoulders. If this does move to the downside, similarly, I think it's going to be more of a bear trap than the end of this whole cycle. So we need to watch for the move down or testing of this confirmation of the downside and a move kind of probably into this territory right here, which would be, this would mean that you're getting really good buy opportunities on those alts or time out of the charts. So what does that look like? Let's start with Ben Makash. You brought up Say. Let's go look at Say. Okay, say, do what you say. All right. So we have this pretty large symmetrical triangle that basically completely broke down. W formation came up. Now it's kind of looking weak here, kind of looking like it's forming a head and shoulders. So what we want to do here is if this comes down, watch for a buying opportunity back into the 28s here. If this loses, we could be going down to a pretty large move there. And you can measure this like this, measure that out. This would actually suggest the target would be 19 cents, but I don't really see that unless we get more of a systemic breakdown across the market. But I'd be watching for opportunity anywhere below this, down here into the 29s, 28s, into this. But we are seeing some bearish setups in the charts. Let's go. That's a 3-day chart. Let's go to the 4-hour. Okay. I mean, even right here, I mean, this kind of telegraphed it. On the 4-hour chart, we have a pretty large rising broadening wedge. You see that? Rising broadening wedges tend to break down. Now, what we do? We came down, bounced, and then broke down. Tried to come up, failed. So I'd be watching for, on a 4-hour chart, I'd be watching, where is this at right now? Look at this. Price right now is right at the top of this range. So if this comes further, the next level I'd be watching is right here, option J. That's the next level. But really, I would say in this zone right in here, I think would be a good opportunity. But we're going to have to check once it gets there because RSI is breaking down as well. It's now below the 50 mark. It's looking weaker in this zone. So I'd be watching what happens with the signals once we get into this target box. BitTensor Tau. Okay, right on the line. Look at this. We had this drawn for months. All the way back here to May. Look at this, rejection, 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 breakout, support, lose it, rejection. Now, this line is just, it's trying to break free and it just can't. Now, where we're at right now on the 4-hour chart, look at this. It's right at that level. And in the box that we have, or this horizontal line that we have right in here, look at this. It's coming right to test to the 345 range. If this loses, I mean, look at where the price is. We have the box that we've had here for quite some time. Look at this. Bounce, 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 bounce within, bounce on top, bounce at the bottom, rejection at the middle line, rejection at the top, rejection at the middle line, rejection at the bottom. This box is very, very huge amount of volume and price memory in these zones. So boom, if this loses here, yeah, I'd be watching for the next move down to the low 300s if that happens. And I would be a buyer there because I do think this market's going to reverse. Injective. All right, so boom, 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 comes down, bounce on the golden pocket, rejects at the 382. Now look at this, rejects at the golden pocket, fake out, boom. This looks weak as it could be. Money flow is weak. However, much lower low. Look at the RSI. It is slightly lower, but it's about flat here. If this can hold in this zone, this might be reversing, but I think this is going to follow the nature of the rest of the market. I think we're primed. I think we're primed for some fake outs across the market. Aerodrome also. I took some profits, a small amount of profits this weekend. It wasn't even to take profits. I just promised myself with where we're at. I was like, well, I think it was at like $1.42, $1.43, right in this zone right here. I took out a small amount and I just paid for some stuff out of it, with my Coinbase card, using this. Why? Because I don't want numbers just on a screen. So I utilized it. I had to buy some stuff. So I was like, oh, I'll just take some because this is up like 100-something% from where the average entry was on this. So now breaking down, but look, short of the head and shoulders here, kind of triple top, breakdown expected. But now breaking down into a falling wedge. Now these tend to break bullish. But what we've seen, because there's so much expectation in this market, is the fake outs to the downside. And then, oh, we're finally going up. And then to come back down. So these double washouts. Watch for the double washouts. As we stand right now, we've kind of sucked back inside of it. Let's go to the 1 hour and look at this. Okay, the RSI is flat here. Look at this. The price action, much lower throughout this. Look at this, how much lower that is. And look at the RSI. Basically flat here. So there's some strength holding up while the price is breaking down, AKA they're trying to wash you out. And now we're starting to see on the 1 hour charts, this is starting to round. If this can hold here, watch in this territory right here. Why? You look for the bottoms of the previous range over and you look at the intersection of the resistance line that comes down. Watch in this territory here, $1.25, if this pushes up into this zone. If this can clear out of this, find support, launch, great. But right now, it's a little bit of a caution. Wait for confirmations if we do move to the upside. H-bar, we have not looked at H-bar in a minute. H-bar, let's look. Actually, I think I have another chart here. Let me look to the other chart. There we go. All right, 12 hour. Looking like it's holding up pretty good. We got a bit of a trend line here. And we got a bit of a trend line here. Get to see it with my eyeballs. Now this is rounded. See, the bulls are the momentum for the bulls is super weak here, and it transitions back to momentum for the bears. If this can hold here at 23 cents, 23.3, watch for, again, like all of the other charts are saying, watch for potential breakdown, fake out, back to equilibrium, chop, and then a move, or a breakdown confirmation and then signal that we're coming down here to 20 cents, bounce potentially down here to 18, 19 cents. We're waiting on some of the confidence of the bulls in the alt market. Right now, it's getting a little bit weak because the trend doesn't feel super assured right now. And we see this in the ETH to Bitcoin pairing still holding up. Price action, look, came right back to the range top in a falling channel. This actually still looks quite good, but look, this top, boom, this top to that top, much higher. What do you see on the money flow? Less money is there. What do you see on the strength? Less strength is there. So kind of signaling a move. And this has been breaking down. If this can hold here with this divergences, then, and this breaks out, finds support and continues, bulls are fully in charge. But if this does break down here, it doesn't mean the bulls can't resurge again. It just means we got a little work to do. We may come down to the lower targets. Kind of immediate lower targets, but I just mean lower from where we're at. Link is dead. Oh my God. Meanwhile, we see a, multi-year 2020, 2021, 2023, 2024, 2025, just giant compression into this zone. W formation, breakout, retest, launch. Does this look dead to you? No, this looks like it's getting set up for a major move. In fact, let's look at this on the link to BTC chart, and you'll see why I say that. You look at this. Let's go monthly. Look at this. Giant falling wedge on the monthly. Chainlink Bitcoin. This is what I want to see break out. Great. The link to USD chart is kind of set up. And I do think we're going to be hitting that 30, 37, 54, 92, up to, the 200s, 300s, 500s. Yes. But when we look at the link to Bitcoin chart, if it's not moving or set up to move faster than Bitcoin, why the hell are you in it? In this case, this is looking like it's been consolidating to the downside. And look at the RSI breaking back above the moving average, bottomed out here. We have basically a small bit of bullish divergence with lower lows here and flat lows here on the RSI. The money flow is the biggest story here, but this is a monthly chart. What does it look like on the 3-day? Money flow popped in, back positive. RSI is back into the strength zone. We may need a little bit of cooling here, but when this breaks out, this is when you're seeing your link US dollar pairs absolutely fly as well. So we got some major setups here. I would say in the immediate term, look for a little bit of patience in the charts. Look for some opportunities if we get some downside targets, but I'm super excited here. I'm excited for, I'm excited for what's coming for those that are patient enough and strategized enough. We need some good strategery to buy those dips. I love you guys. I appreciate you all. Do not let these moments wreck you. Let these moments set up your future. Look for dip buying opportunities so you're not in one of these opportunities later. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. Sorry I was off yesterday, but yeah, I hope you all have an absolutely wonderful day. I love you. Adios. And shout out to Jesse Michaud. He gifted 5 BitLab memberships. Big love to you. I appreciate you. Make sure you all hit the like button, hit the subscribe, ding the bell. If you want to become a member on the YouTube channel, you get access to some of the private streams that I do in our Discover Investments group. That link is pinned in the top of the live chat there. I do appreciate y'all, and thank you all for the members that are here as well. Hope you all have an absolutely wonderful day. That's all I got. Adios.